When talk turned to Haiti and countries in Africa at that meeting, he apparently said, this is a quote, "Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here?" You can't dance around it. Those are the words of the President of the United States.
The story of Africa is not just a single story. How can there be just one story of Africa when there are so many unique countries that have its own unique history, and there's different beauty and there's different cultures in each country? So I want to explore that. I want to explore the dangers of telling a single story. And after I explore that, I want to tell my own story, our own story. Welcome to Bad Africa.
The only place I've been to in Africa are like Ethiopia, and I've been to Madagascar.
Ooh.
And in Madagascar, a lot of people, or when I told people I went to Madagascar, they were like, "There's people in Madagascar."
Oh, because of the movie Madagascar.
So it's most of the time it's like,
because that's the narrative. That's what we go with. And if you try to sway away from that story, then it's not African enough.
Right, or it's
yeah.
And that's how they control. That's literally how they control us, like through the media.
Yeah.
It's like this is what your people look like, So you should be happy where you are, and with where you are.
Yeah. And we don't know how impactful media can be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shapes who you are, what you think, your values, your environment. It's so impactful.
Your whole experience is shaped on.
And we've never controlled it.
Where you are.
What's the story the African tale about the lion? If the lion never gets to tell their story, then the hunter will always be glorified?
Yes.
The main misconception about Africa is that it's poor. That was the main thing. That the whole continent's poor, like there's no good parts, there's no rich parts.
You're raised in this country, you go to school, you're listening to your social studies teacher and they're teaching you about Africa. And the first thing that they go to is roots. The first thing that they go to is us in chains. And that's where we think we come from. And then on top of that, it's like, how many individuals do they talk about from a place of power? There's not that many. And then you turn the TV on and then you see, us in huts, right? Or you see us not really clothed, or people in the bush. And like, as if that's the only reflection of Africa. That's not true. And you see this growing up as a child.
So have you ever seen any good images of Africa on TV that are non-fiction, meaning not fake?
Honey, that's the sad part. Typically, it's not a good look, and I didn't grow up seeing good images just like I did of Haiti either.
It is true. I think there are not many stories, African stories, on popular television, right? We don't have that. We don't have that in those spaces. We haven't infused that. And I think that up until recently, you probably wouldn't see a Nigerian movie on Netflix.
We come from a continent of great wealth, but a continent that has been assaulted and abused very often and exploited.
Yes.
Yeah. And so oftentimes what colonialism did is that it rewrote our history and changed our narrative. And so our global narrative is one of poverty and strife, and the wealth of the continent is very seldom seen on such a global scale.
I think that people know Africa's value. That's why they steal from it. That's why they loot from it. That's why they come and take things. That's why colonialism happened in the first place. So much of the world's productions across fields, across scopes, is derived from Africa. We're talking resources. Every type of resource you can think of is from the continent. There's a lot of different players on the continent right now. Like, look at China's influence on the continent. Talk about seeing the value. China sees the value in Africa. Is the results of that recognition of value going to Africans? It does not look so.
Over 10,000 Chinese companies operate across the continent. The vast majority are present in Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Zambia, and South Africa. Millions of jobs created, new infrastructure, a transfer of new technologies. But at what price? China's expanding footprint is not without controversy. Critics are suspicious of what they see as a neo-colonial land grab, accusing China of exploiting the continent's resources.
It just amplifies the sense of urgency, for the Black diaspora to go back as many times as they can, and not only go back but invest, right? Buy land, buy property, because like these other cultures, these other races are doing it because they understand the wealth in Africa and they understand Africa is it.
I think it's a pivotal, it's a pivotal time. I think this has been one of, someone said this is one of the biggest migrations of the diaspora to the continent. From January 2019 to September 2019, the numbers show that they issued 750,000 visas.
We have dubbed this year the Year of Return to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first 20 West African slaves. We intend to use the symbolism of this Year of Return to bring together Africans, persons of African descent, and all well-wishers and lovers of freedom to strengthen the commitment to ensuring that blots in our history, such as the transatlantic slave trade and slavery, never reoccur.
I want to give a big shout out to the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, for recognizing the importance of involving the diaspora in the development of the continent. Once we have pride in ourselves and we can build up our continent, Black people around the world will be a lot more respected.
People are waking up. You know, people are waking up, people are wanting to travel a lot more. And another thing that I noticed growing up, why being Jamaican was so cool in the late 80s, early 90s, you know, up until now, it's still super cool to be Jamaican, was the music, right? The culture. And back then, Nigerian music wasn't as popular, right? Only amongst, you know, our parents.
I think music is one of the foremost parts of culture. And I think that we see that with Afrobeats.
Afrobeats music or Afro sound, like the sound of African music. Honestly, if anyone takes the time to listen to it, the vibrations are gonna move you, right? You may not understand the language, but your body is automatically going to move.
Afrobeats has been a huge catalyst in all the people of the diaspora visiting the continent.
All right, finish the sentence with me. Okay. If I tell you, say I. Oh my gosh, love you. What else? What else? That's all you get. Oh, Lord. All you get. Okay, that is my song though. What about this one? Joanna. Joanna.
I'm receiving videos of kids vibes into Joanna, and that's actually a seed that's planted in their head. Do you get what I'm saying? From early, whereas before it would have just been like trap or hip hop or whatever, well, not trap or hip hop or whatever genre was popping at the time. It wasn't African music that people grew up listening to in America. So now the narrative's changing. This is a time that people wanna, well, African Americans wanna connect back to their roots, and the music is what's drawing them.
All of these people coming back, I hope that it lets the world know that, you know, Black people are going back home and they need to be on the lookout, I hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to welcome you to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport servicing Lagos, Nigeria, where the local time is 7 minutes past the hour of 3 p.m.
How can you have one single story of Africa when it's full of beauty, different countries, and its own rich history? So I came to Africa. I want to show you guys the beauty that is here, to really explore in this dynamic year of return, all that Africa is. This is Africa.
So I wanted to get with a couple of influencers who
we're making, helping to expand the narrative of Africa on the continent and beyond. And so I had to come out. I just really feel like it's important that we are the people who tell our own stories, you know, and it takes a lot of courage to do that. People aren't necessarily seeking out these stories or, you know, but I wanted to get with the influencers to really just go through how they made such an impact for the culture.
I remember initially telling my boys, like, yo, yeah, PVO, Positive Vibes Only, that's gonna be the brand we push, but the name of the company is gonna be PVO Global, because I wanna take this around the world. So I always knew. And then on top of that, 3 out of the 4 of us are Nigerian. I just remembered our affiliation with Africa, and I'm like, okay, that's where we're gonna do it first. And on top of that, a lot of their friends were so global, in addition to my friends, but I'm like, yo, they have boys in London, they have boys in Nigeria, we have boys in Ghana, you know, so I was like, yo, this is gonna be easy, you know, and all our boys are doing big things in their various cities. So Africa was the first continent that I knew I wanted to take PVO to, and Nigeria specifically was the first country.
Afrochella started December 29th, 2017, and what we wanted to do was kind of create a feeling in people's mind, putting an image in the minds of individuals about what is possible for us in Africa.
If you know you're from this land, this great land, the land with so much light, the land that took so many people this year, the land that gave out over 750,000 visas, Ghana makes some noise. I said Ghana makes some noise!
Our festival is very different from a music festival because we don't focus solely on music. In our minds, the food, the fashion, the music, and the art are just as important. Experiencing it through the eyes of my friends who have never been to Africa, who have no family in Africa, and having them able to express their pure joy made me feel different inside. And it's not easy for me to kind of like describe it, but it just made me understand we're doing the right work, right, by bringing people back home and making them understand what exists for them back home and, you know, what Africa truly is like.
I know the word.
What's the word?
Magical.
Magical. Magical might be the word.
Hi, I'm here for Afrochella. I'm from South Africa.
My name is Brandon Brown. I came from Los Angeles, California. This is my first time in Africa. Very excited to be celebrating with my people. 400 years of slavery, year of the return, surrounded by beautiful black people, and I love it.
I think that we filled the void. People were looking for an opportunity to go to the continent, and we gave them one of the reasons to go back, and I'm very happy that we were able to do that.
The fact that a fellow West African was invited up to Hot 97 to speak on, you know, Africa and the African diaspora and all the great things that are going on in Ghana, it's just mind-blowing to me.
I remember the first time I heard Afrobeats on the radio, and I was born in the Bronx. So for me, it was like, wow, they playing Afrobeats on the radio? Like, it was a very big deal for us. And like today, because of a festival we're doing in Ghana, we're actually sitting at the Hot 97. I think that's full circle in its best way.
And shout out to the Full Circle family too, with Boris and Bozma and everybody, because it literally everybody feels like everybody just came to this location in an organic way.
Recently, I interviewed Ebro. It was a big deal because he doesn't really do extensive interviews, and we talked about Africa and how his biracial identity and him being from the Bay, Black Panthers, tied in with all this stuff, has informed his interest in his own identity and in African music.
Ebro has a very good ear for music, and out of several media personalities, Ebro has championed Afrobeats music.
A lot of the music that's being played now, that our parents listen to, I hear on Hot 97. I remember I almost crashed my car one time. I'm like, what? They playing My Sweetie?
I literally have met every single DJ in America and made sure that they understood like what exactly was happening. Like, this isn't just a song you're playing. This is an entire movement that you're pushing, and you're opening doors for other people, not just me. The music has changed the perception because now it's being accepted commercially, whereas before it was more seen as the underground sound. The genre is being co-signed by major artists, major celebrities like Beyonce, Drake, Rihanna, you name it. And that's just helped it gone from, you know, this sound that, oh, if you know, you know, to how can you not know about it?
I can't wait to go Ivory Coast, man.
That's gonna be lit. I think you're gonna get a good, like, welcoming.
Yeah, man. On my way to Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, so I've been through the events. I haven't been 20 years, so it's gonna be a special one. You can fly, you know what I'm saying? Cheers! Hey, Ivory Coast, Abidjan, let's go.
So how has being African influenced who you are and your music?
Well, being African, that's me. That's what I live and breathe. I was just born into it. So the music that I grew up listening to, what I eat, who I'm around, yeah, everything about Africa is what I'm on.
What Africa means to me, I think that Africa is the center of life in every form, in every shape, in every realm, in every capacity.
Africa means home. Africa means patience. Africa means love.
I just feel a sense of wealth that you cannot monetize, a sense of wealth that you can't count. I'm African, you know? And the thing is, the people that put us down, they know that. And that's why they try to, you know, beat us down, because they know how powerful we are. Like, this melanin is worth more than money.
I'm personally half Nigerian, half African American, so I've seen both sides. And I think that people really needed an invitation. Like, we didn't know that we were welcome to come and visit. And so, like, for me, I feel comfortable here, but when my guests came, they really felt like they were embraced and they were included and they were welcomed, and that's amazing. Like, just to be here, to feel like you're of here, and then also have the opportunity to go to all the historical sites and see what they put our ancestors through, and to understand where we come from and how strong we are.
The year of return. I think it has brought a lot of people back to the motherland, you know, to their roots, and they've enjoyed themselves. Yeah.
Why is it important that they align themselves with their roots?
Because you don't know where you're going until you know where you're from. There's poverty everywhere, in every country, even in the States. So you can't just go, you know, select a certain, you know, place and then make a documentary that Africa is poor. Africa is never poor. You can see for yourself. Look at the airports. And when you watch these foreign channels, that's all you get. You know, you don't get to see the beauty of Africa. Come to Africa. It's beautiful.
And Africa's story, of course, had been told by European writers.
Yes, a whole tradition of storytelling was created simply to tell the story of Africa. And the reason for that is not very far from the reason for the slave trade, because it's as deep as that, to present a people's story in such a way as to make them look bad.
Where is the balance now? Are you satisfied with the development of an authentic African voice?
Well, it's only the beginning.
there has to be like a silver lining that we can look into and say, hey, I mean, now that we do have the opportunity, we get to change that narrative.
It's very important for Africans and people of the diaspora to add to the narrative of Africa and the diaspora, but I don't think that when we are reshaping, rewriting this narrative, that we should be catering to a white Western gaze in order to prove our worth to them. I think a full scope view of Africa, everyday lives of Africans, that doesn't cater to any extreme of the spectrum is the way to shape and expand the narrative. And that's that.
And that's that on that.
Period.
Like Michael Jackson bad, or like she's so bad that like you know what I'm saying? Like it depends on how you phrase it, because bad can mean good. It's all about context. You know, what context are we using the word bad?
Bad reimagined.
Means good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I see what you mean. So what's bad to someone else may not necessarily be bad if they understand it a little bit.
Yeah, in a different perspective. That's why I use the name Bad Africa, because Africa reimagined.
I like it.
So yeah, so that'll end it.
That's fire.
Whoa. Bad has too many meanings. It could be negative or positive. You could say, oh, this girl looks bad, as in she looks good, or bad behavior, innit?
The reason why I asked that is because the title of the documentary is Bad Africa. And so I feel like bad reimagined means good. And so like you said, it has two different perspectives. I think that people for a long time have felt like, you know, Africa has been labeled bad, but when you look at it, Africa's really badass. Like, if you really go to the continent, you really pull up, you know.
Yeah, you can't call the baddest continent bad, innit? This is Africa.